A lonely businessman thought renting a room would be simple, until two mysterious twin girls walked into his life. Secrets, surprises, and a connection he never saw coming, all hidden behind ordinary smiles. Before we dive in, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching? The rain had been falling since dawn, soft but relentless, washing the city streets as if trying to erase yesterday's mistakes. Inside a modest two-story house on the edge of town, Ayan Malik sat by the living room window, staring at the world through streaked glass. He wasn't just watching the rain, he was watching life move on without him. Once, Ayan had been the kind of man people admired. He built his small technology firm from nothing, sleeping on office floors, surviving on instant coffee and stubborn dreams. But life had a strange way of humbling success. After the sudden death of his wife 3 years ago, everything he had built began to feel meaningless. The house felt too quiet, the walls echoed too loudly. Even his achievements started to sound hollow. To survive both emotionally and financially, he decided to rent out the extra room upstairs. Not because he wanted company, but because silence had started to feel heavier than loneliness. He posted the ad online with simple words: "Room available, quiet environment, ideal for students." He expected dozens of careless replies. But what he got instead changed his life. 2 girls showed up at his door that very afternoon. They didn't look like trouble. If anything, they looked like they were carrying the weight of the world way too early in life. They introduced themselves as Hana and Ikra. Not loud, not shy, just careful. Their eyes held maturity far beyond their age, as if life had already tested them too many times. "We're second-year college students," Hana said politely. "We need a place close to the campus, and affordable." Ayan studied them silently. Their clothes were neat but worn. Their bags were small. People with small bags usually carried heavy stories. He showed them the room upstairs. It wasn't luxurious, but it was clean and warm. Sunlight slipped through the window like a quiet promise. "It's perfect," Ikra whispered. He noticed how they exchanged glances before speaking, like they finished each other's thoughts without words. "What about rules?" Hana asked. Ayan gave a small, tired smile. "Just respect the space, and no unnecessary noise at night." They agreed instantly. The deal was done. That night, for the first time in months, Ayan heard soft laughter upstairs. Not too loud, not too distant, just enough to remind him that life still existed beyond grief. Days passed. He started noticing small things, how they always cooked simple meals but shared them, how they worked late on assignments yet still left the kitchen cleaner than they found it, how they never wasted water, electricity, or even food. They lived like people who had learned survival, not from books, but from hardship. One evening, as Ayan returned from work, he found them sitting on the floor with old notebooks scattered around. "You help each other study?" he asked casually. Hana looked up and smiled. "We don't have another choice." That answer stayed with him. Late that night, Ayan stood outside their door for a moment, listening to the quiet flipping of pages and occasional soft whispers. He didn't know their full story yet, but he could sense something unusual. Not mystery, not danger, something deeper, something unfinished. And as thunder rolled across the sky, he never realized. The 2 girls living under his roof weren't just tenants. They were about to unlock a buried chapter of his life he never knew existed. The morning sunlight spilled through the kitchen window, painting golden lines across the floor tiles. Ayan stood by the sink, holding his coffee mug, listening to the quiet sounds of movement upstairs. It had been weeks since Hana and Ikra moved in, yet their presence still felt like a gentle storm, silent, but powerful enough to disturb the stillness he had buried himself in. He noticed changes, not in them, in himself. He began waking up earlier. The house no longer felt like a museum of memories. There were footsteps, soft conversations, life returning slowly, like color seeping back into a black and white world. One morning, Hana came downstairs with a stack of books almost taller than her arms. "Sir, can I ask you something?" she said carefully. "Of course," he replied. "Do you still enjoy what you do? Your business?" The question caught him off guard. No one had asked him that in years. "I used to," he answered honestly, "before everything became about survival instead of passion." Ikra, who was making tea, spoke without turning around. "Sometimes survival is just a phase, not a destination." Ayan looked at her. Those words didn't sound borrowed. They sounded experienced. From that day, a quiet bond began to form, not like landlord and tenants, something deeper. He started giving them rides to college on rainy days, not because they asked, but because he noticed how they walked despite the storm, never complaining. He began keeping fruits in the kitchen, because he once overheard them deciding which one of them would skip today to save money. Yet they never asked for help, never complained, never explained, which made him more curious and more respectful. One evening he came home earlier than usual. The house smelled of burnt onions. He raised an eyebrow. Experiment gone wrong? Ikra laughed awkwardly. We were trying your country-style lentils recipe from YouTube. YouTube? Ayan chuckled. Even my mother cooked better without tutorials, brr. Anna smiled. We never really had someone to teach us, brr. Thing about the way she said it struck his chest, brr. OT as sympathy. S. Truth. Ader, that night, when the power went out due to the storm, they all sat in the living room with only a candle between them. His silence felt different in the dark, heavier, more honest. Do you ever feel, Hannah began softly, like life erased you for a while and you had to redraw yourself from nothing? Jan swallowed. Bar. Yes, he whispered. Bar. Kra looked at him carefully. Then maybe it didn't erase you. Maybe it cleared space, bar. He candle flickered, bar. ND for a moment, time stopped. The storm outside carried secrets, bar. Secrets he didn't even know he once lived inside. Next morning something strange happened, bar. Jan received a call from an unknown number. Woman's voice on the other end trembled. Is this Ayan Malik, bar? Yes, bar. Here was a pause. Hen, she said words that twisted his entire reality, bar. I think the girls staying at your house are not strangers after all, bar. Line went dead, bar. And Ayan stood frozen. Because for the first time in years, fear didn't feel like danger. It felt like the truth trying to arrive. Ayan didn't sleep that night. The woman's voice echoed in his head like a clock that refused to stop ticking. They are not strangers. He replayed those words over and over, trying to compare them with logic, with memory, with reality. But they didn't fit anywhere. He had no siblings, no hidden past like in some drama, no secrets, or at least that's what he had always believed. Morning came slower than usual. He walked into the kitchen and found Hannah already there, softly stirring tea. Her face looked tired, like she hadn't slept either. Did you rest well? She asked. He hesitated. Yes, enough, he replied. But something in his eyes had changed. She noticed, people who carry storms inside them always recognize storms in others. Throughout the day, Ayan observed them differently. The way Hannah held her cup, exactly like someone he had once known. The way Ikra laughed, sharp, warm, familiar, and it terrified him. That evening, he couldn't hold it anymore. Did anyone contact you recently? He asked carefully. Ikra looked confused. About what? About me, or this house? They exchanged a glance. That glance again. The silent language. No, Hannah replied softly. Why would someone? He nodded, but his heart didn't. Later that night, he stepped outside onto the veranda as cold air brushed his face. The city hummed in the distance. He dialed the number back, the one that had changed his peace. This time she answered. You called, Ayan said immediately. Yes. Her voice was tired. I wasn't sure you would. Who are you? And what do you know about them? She sighed. My name is Farah, and I was your wife's childhood friend. His breath stopped. How do you have this number? She paused. I never stopped checking on you after her death, she whispered. But I didn't intervene, until now. Why now? He demanded. There was a long silence. Because those girls, they aren't just random tenants. Then who are they? His voice cracked. They belong to a past you buried so deep, even you forgot it. Ayan closed his eyes. And you think bringing it back won't destroy them? Or me? I think, she said gently, that truth only destroys lies, not hearts. The call ended, and the night swallowed him whole. The next morning, as he prepared to leave for work, he noticed something unusual. A small silver locket had fallen from Ikra's bag near the stairs. He picked it up carefully, meaning to return it. But when it opened, his world tilted. Inside was an old faded photograph, a much younger version of him, standing beside a woman, and in her arms, two newborn twins. His hands began to shake, his breathing stopped, and for the first time in years, Ayan realized, sometimes life doesn't move forward, it circles back, and when it does, it doesn't knock, it crashes. Ayan didn't move for a long time. The silver locket lay open in his palm like a wound that had just learned how to speak. The faces in the picture stared back at him, frozen in time, unaware of how their stillness had shattered a man's present. 2 babies, 2 lives. His eyes moved to the staircase. The sound of footsteps echoed above, soft, familiar, unaware of the storm rising below. He closed the locket slowly, not because he wanted to hide the truth, but because he wasn't ready to break it. Yet. The entire day passed like fog. He went to work, attended meetings, spoke to people, but his mind was trapped in that photograph, that moment, that life, that truth. Years ago, before his wife passed away, there had been complications. Secrets whispered between doctors, her mother, and fate. He remembered fragments now. Stress, silent arguments, sudden travels he never fully questioned. He trusted love too much, and questioned nothing at all. Until now. That evening, the house felt different, like it was holding its breath. Hana and Ikra sat in the living room, books in front of them, but they weren't studying. They were waiting. "You know, don't you?" Hana said quietly. Ayan froze. His eyes lifted. Their gazes met, and in that silence, all truths stood naked. "I found the locket," he whispered. Ikra swallowed. "You weren't supposed to see it like that," she said. "Then how?" His voice trembled. "How was I supposed to see it?" Their faces softened. Not in fear, in relief. Hana spoke first. "We weren't going to tell you yet," she said. "Not until we were strong enough to stand on our own feet. So you came to live here. Without me knowing?" His voice cracked, not in anger, in heartbreak. "We didn't want sympathy," Ikra replied. "We just wanted to understand who you were, before deciding who we would be." Ayan looked at them, not as tenants, not as strangers, but as lost reflections of his past. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" he whispered. "Because your wife begged them not to," Hana said softly. "She was terrified that the responsibility would crush you when your business was just starting, and when her health was failing." Silence fell, thick, heavy, real. "And you?" he asked. "You never thought I deserved to know." Ikra stepped forward. "We thought you deserved to live before you were forced to sacrifice." His breath shattered. Tears, the ones he'd buried for years, finally broke free. He turned away, not to hide his crying, but because a father doesn't want his children to see his world break, yet they came closer, slow, careful, like approaching an old, wounded truth. And then, Hana spoke softly. "We're not here for money," Ikra continued. "We're here because even with all the silence, you never stopped being our father." Ayan turned back, eyes wet, soul raw, and in that moment, he didn't see girls needing a rented room anymore. He saw 2 lives that had waited long enough for him to come home. He stepped forward, embraced them, not like a landlord, not like a stranger, but like time itself had folded back into his arms. Outside, the evening light poured through the window, not like before, warmer, brighter, hopeful, and for the first time in years, the house didn't just feel lived in. It finally felt complete, not because life had no more storms, but because he no longer had to face them alone.